My, Fee. How far we have come.
I can't believe we're here at the end.
It's the final episode of Queer Gals Watch the West Wing, where we will be discussing the writing of Aaron Sorkin.
I can't believe it. It feels like it's come by so fast.
We will, of course, be coming back for season 5, of course. We're very excited to be coming back for season 5. We thank everyone on Patreon for supporting us, for the fact that we will be able to come back for season 5 with all of your support. We thank you for that so much, because this is the first season that we have broken even on our costs from our gorgeous Patreon supporters, which means so much. So it's not the final episode of this podcast, but it is the end of our frisson.
Our tenure with
Sorkin.
Aaron. Yeah. And Leigh, I've got some quite exciting thoughts and feelings about that going into season 5, which I will share with you at the end of the episode.
I really didn't know if I was ready to get into this episode. I had to leave it a good distance between watching the last episode and watching this one.
I had to take a full day break.
I needed an emotional recovery.
Yeah. I feel that we should just jump straight in.
Let's get into it.
So we're here on Queer Gals Watch the West Wing discussing season 4, episode 23, titled 25.
This is not how I thought Aaron was going to go out. I am in shock. I'm reeling. I didn't see any of it coming. I'm baffled. I'm amazed. Let's just go into the start of the episode, shall we?
I was confused. I was stressed, but I was like, let's just let the man cook. Because he knows where he's...
Chef.
Yes, chef. Because I know that he's going somewhere delicious at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the ingredients that he's throwing around, I'm like, what is even happening? The thumbnail on my DVD menu was just the sit room in what appeared to be chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually is a very accurate representation for how I felt through this episode.
I actually felt quite triggered watching the Previously On. It was the most to the point Previously On I think we've ever had. And it did end with them re-showing Leo running, which I was unfortunately emotionally incapable of handling.
Horrible. We open at a soiree. I forgot how crazy Stockard's hair was. That's helping slightly with the stress. And then I was like, oh my God, like this is the parents of like Zoe's like uni friends all round at the White House, all like celebrating graduation, and they don't know yet.
That was sickening. Both in the drag queen sense and in the nausea sense.
Yes.
Has the president been sighing?
Please, Jed's been sighing. He's been sighing in all kinds of dead languages.
Then not Jed saying that he's grieving.
He's like in a corner with the other dads, like looking at, I want to say, childhood pictures of Zoe.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't know that she's been abducted yet. This is your emotional response just to the idea that she's like traveling in France for a few months.
Yeah, and like Abby's like, yeah, he's been like trying to take all of these invites from like the French like royal family so that he's got like a reason to be like near to her.
I will say Jed would be a phenomenal judge at Cannes. As we know, he is passionate about film. As we've seen, I would love Jed to be a Cannes judge.
He predominantly likes old films.
That is true.
He would have loved The Artist.
He would have.
He prefers a sort of black and white, classic cinema moment.
But I also feel that he could have watched a film like Dunkirk, for example, and gone, I have an appreciation for what they've done there.
An epic. An epic, I feel he enjoys. But I don't know why we're fanning around talking about this, Leigh, because like one of the other dads is like chatting to him. We see Leo at the door with Ron.
he's just done the run. Like, we've rejoined in real time from the end of the last episode. I was really hoping, and I know it would make no dramatic sense to do this from a writing standpoint, but I was really hoping we were going to jump in at a point where Jed had already been told, because I really didn't want to watch Jed be told. So basically, a friend of Jed's is saying, as Leo approaches, "Do you remember the ride home from the hospital? Scariest ride of your life." And I paused at this moment because it's as Leo approaches, and I looked at Jed's face, making eye contact with Leo before Leo has said anything. And I took a photo of my TV at that point because I went, Jed knows. All he has to do is look at Leo's face.
It's like one of his oldest friends. Like, he can look at Leo, and Leo, it's not even like this is a bad political day.
Yeah.
It's like something has happened to you and yours.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The slow-mo. Like, Jed's up, like he's like leaning in, Leo's whispering in his ear. We're like cutting to Abby, watching them have this moment. We then see Jed drop the photo album of pictures of like baby Zoe.
The look from Stockard when she knows something is terribly wrong. Give that woman an EGOT for that single look.
Seconded. The smash into credits.
It's a smash to credits like we've never seen before.
Something out of a true crime show. My God. The music, the glass dropping on the floor, the dawning realization that their daughter is lost.
I think actually Jed's reaction to being told was slightly too much for me. I was simply emotionally numb watching Jed receive the news. But what did make me cry, the first time that I cried in this episode, was actually seeing Charlie and Josh running, but not yet knowing what has happened, only knowing that there must be a certain level of severity to what has happened. And then I was getting into my head of the way that Donna finished the last episode saying Josh is always convinced that someone's going to die and it's going to be his fault. And then I was thinking Josh has seen these blue lights before as a child when it was his sister.
Yeah.
So I'm already crying just at the thought of emotionally what Josh will be going through in this moment, not having all the full information. And then I was like, not Dulé Hill giving the performance of a lifetime as he's saying, she's messing with you. But as he's saying it, you know that he doesn't believe it himself because the man is on the verge of a panic attack in the most like horrifyingly realistic way, where I was like, it's like he wasn't even performing. My character is having a panic attack in this moment. It was like the character of Charlie is completely unaware in the moment. That's what is happening is a panic attack is like building within him.
Yeah. This would be the episode that I would put forward for Dulé's Emmy nomination for sure. Yeah.
And then I was like, but Charlie has gotten this news before when his mother was killed by a gunshot wound. Wesley really takes the time to level with Charlie in a way that made me go, Wesley is incredibly good at his job.
Because he's updating people who, from a hierarchy perspective, need to be updated. Mm-hmm. But he's doing it in such a way to be like, we're not spinning out right now. This is what I need you to do. And these are the facts that I have right now. When Charlie's like, my car is just around the corner, like he's going to go out looking for her. Wesley's like, no, we're not. That's not what we need right now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to need you to stay here. And actually, the way that Josh steps up in this moment,
it made me have a whole new love for Josh. Because as we know, it's one thing to stand up to your enemies, but it is entirely another thing to stand up to your friend, especially in a moment of emotional distress, and stop them from doing something that is going to be harmful to themselves or to others. And I think it's an incredibly brave thing to do, especially kind of man to man. The way that Charlie, just this whole scene, the mental processing that you see him do in real time, I cannot even imagine receiving that news of like the whole time he was in a relationship with Zoe, they were worried about safety from the perspective of him because he was the person that was getting the death threats. And I think he was much more comfortable that way because it was like, well, Zoe's always going to be fine because Zoe's the first daughter. So she's always going to have that protection. And I all I need to do is worry about myself.
I'd never thought about it like that.
You know, we've all seen so many true crime documentaries about pretty white women around Zoe's age going missing or being killed. And so there's that level of processing that Charlie's doing of like, my, at this point, love of my life, like, is that girl that this is happening to. But on another level, I have to compute with the fact that she is the first daughter. And so there is actually like a whole other level of what's happening here. But she is also just the girl that I love. I could talk about this. I could talk about Charlie in this scene for the whole episode.
And Josh takes all of this in with like such good grace. And Charlie's like jumping to action. He's like, we need to do this. Like, I'm going to go and do that. And Josh is like, no, we need to stay here. Look, we wanted the last people to see her going into the club. The police are going to want to talk to us. Secret Service is going to want to talk to us. Like, let's just be here in this moment. And there's such a clear awareness from Josh of like what shock and trauma is. There's no bravado at all. He's just leading one, like a goddamn chief of staff in the making, but also just like a really good and honest friend.
Huge big brother energy in the best way. In a sense of like, I've never really thought of Josh as like a mentor for Charlie before. But it becomes very clear very quickly in this scene that Josh feels that sense of responsibility to be a big brother to Charlie. And I will say, while Charlie and Josh are completely devastating, I want to stay with them longer because I can't even look at Jed.
Going back to Jed in the West Wing is a tough shift. But like, he's striding into an office and like looking at like Ron's like updating him, and he's just looking at Ron and he's like, are Elizabeth and Ellie safe?
I hadn't even conceived of the idea that either Elizabeth or Ellie or both could have been taken as well. Like, this could be a coordinated attack.
The way that Ron responds, yes, sir. It's like he performs that 2-word line. Like, it's every ounce of the apology and regret for what's happened. Like, you can see that character being like, this is on me and only on me. And I fully believe that, like, at some point in that day, he tries to go to Jed with a resignation letter.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously, I will run this. But, like, as soon as this is done, like, I will obviously be stepping down because I'm not worthy of this. And I love Ron Butterfield.
Ron Butterfield is the man of any woman's dreams. He is so unbelievably husband material. He's very Mr. Knightley. Anyway, let's carry on.
I love that for you because I think he's extremely unattractive, but I think he fits very much into your like really, really weird niche attractiveness to men. Like the 2 or 3 men that Leigh is attracted to in this world are like the ugliest fucking blokes I've ever seen. Which is what like reinforces to me that you're such a staunch lesbian, because I'm just like, no one would choose to be attracted to those men.
No disrespect to any ex-boyfriends who might be listening.
No, but you know what I mean? Like when I'm talking about like kind of like celebrity crushes / like kind of fictional crushes,
it's niche.
Very
it's
niche.
Any man that I've ever been attracted to in the public sphere is very much a hear me out.
Yeah, times like a hear me out like a drunk hear me out. Like when you hope that everyone's going to be like pretty much on your side. Now, should we talk about the fact that we're in the sit room with a real who's who?
We have Michael Casper, Nancy Fitzwallace, Leo, and Ron all sparring, all bringing their full acumen to what needs to happen next with the information that we have. And it is so incredibly sexy seeing so many people at the top of their game at work, even under such immense pressure. Nobody is having a hint of bombast or ego. It's all very much like, I respect it's also respectful. I think that's what's sexy about it, is even under pressure, everyone is being their best, most professional selves.
Everyone's listening.
That's it.
And this is the Leigh.
That's what it is.
May I make a hot take?
Yeah.
People don't listen anymore. No one's listening. Myself included. We just like let stuff bounce off us. In a 2-stroke scenario, strike one in this room, every single character's job is to listen and absorb information and respond accordingly. Strike two, every actor in this room's job is to listen and let their response like come through in their performance. And I think that's why both of us were so like compelled by these big group scenes, whether it be the sit room scenes or kind of the scenes with the gang in this episode. The way that the language is written is that like, because every scene we're in, a character is absorbing new information. We are just big into listening in this app.
100%. It is, every single scene is the run of the scene that you do in rehearsals where you just go like, this is magic. Like we are just tossing the ball back and forth. Every actor for this whole episode is putting their full pussy into every word that comes out of their mouth.
Yes.
This was also the point in the episode where I was like, when Nancy stops the room by going, this is not a typical kidnapping. That was the moment where I was like, we don't think John Paul is involved. Maybe not even maliciously. Maybe he was just a fucking idiot who gave information.
That I'm on board with. I think he's too high profile to be like a spy.
Oh, yeah.
And also he's too dumb to be a spy.
Yeah.
But he's 100% someone who's like met someone in a bar and they've been like, hey, cool girlfriend. And he's been like, yeah, she's the first daughter of the president of the United States. And like, here's all her security information. Because he's a dumb bitch. But now that we're talking about how weird this kidnapping is, I'm starting to think that there's a point here where I was like, oh, is this more than just like a simple Kumari retaliation? Like, is this actually like, is it smoke and mirrors? What's happening with Kumar? But then I was like, but like they did kill Molly kind of like execution style.
Yeah.
And I think if it was just like a kind of like group of like bungled people like trying to do something for some clout, they wouldn't have like shot Molly in the street.
No, and we've seen Molly's whole team, Wesley's whole team, are really good at their jobs. So in order to be able to get a Secret Service agent of Molly's level, I mean, obviously it's her job to take the bullet, right? Like that when it comes down to it, if all else fails, it's I put myself between the gun and you.
Yeah.
But in order to execute her in that way, there has to be a certain level of military skill going on.
And this is what's so interesting. And I'd love to give a round of applause to Nancy, because it feels like Fitz is immediately like, this is a military planned operation. We need to move these ships. We need to move these troops. And Nancy's like, I really want us to look at this from all angles. Like, as essentially the only woman in the room.
Yes.
The power to be like, we need to slow down and look at the fact that lots of things that aren't normal are happening.
Yes.
That's not to say it isn't what Fitz thinks, but there's more to this than meets the eye.
Yes.
I think that's queen behavior.
It is queen behavior. And I would say we've never seen a moment from Nancy that has not been queen behavior.
I agree.
Even in her very tough moment with CJ a season ago.
I agree.
The way that Jed is being so calm and Leo is just staring at him open-mouthed through this whole Situation Room scene.
It's once again kind of this reinforcement to me that Jed is fundamentally an excellent president, because even as he's receiving information about his favorite daughter, let's be honest, he is allowing himself to respond in a statesman-like way.
Yes.
It's the open mouth from Leo is warranted. Like, and we keep saying it through the episode, like, we have no idea how he's doing this.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the kind of conclusion is so phenomenal. Is that like we were all expecting that we might have to push him to that realization, but for him to lead on that is amazing. Back at the club,
the way that this is filmed is absolutely sensational, because we are with Josh. He is in a full sprint with an officer. And then Charlie, who's also with them, has a realization. We are then sprinting with Charlie over to Jean Paul. There's a world in which this was directed so that the people were closer together to begin with. But it's, again, I think goes to the run from Leo at the end of the episode. We are used to seeing these men walking and talking and being in full command. To see these characters in a full sprint, the movement of it, just to talk about it from a directing perspective for a moment, is sensational.
They're like running past some cops with flares, so you get these like sparks of light into the screen and like moving in between people. The sound of the helicopter's rotors overhead. It's so epic.
It's like The Day After Tomorrow. It's like a disaster film.
Yeah. And Jean-Paul, not okay.
No.
And like, you know, when you were like, I don't think like John Paul's like set this up. I think maybe he's being like dumb and like given too much information. This, I feel like you're right with that. Because he's not high in the way that like Wesley's like, this guy isn't high on E.
No, I think one of the kidnappers was the dealer that John Paul bought from. And he has sold him something that is not E. So even though he's still a predator because he still laced Zoe's drink with something that he believed to be E, which is a problem in and of itself.
Yeah.
But then we're adding to that while he thought that he was lacing Zoe's drink with E, we in fact think he was actually lacing her with something that he didn't even realize it was.
Yeah, he had like no idea, which is so terrifying. Would you like to be Wesley?
Listen to me. You're going to be fine. You're the key witness to the end of the world. Come on. Come on. We're going to keep you alive. You have to tell me who gave this to you.
What's wrong with him?
I don't give a damn. Get a blood sample. The professionalism of Wesley, Agent Wesley Davis, I believe, when I looked up on IMDb. If we're going to talk about it being Ron's worst ever day at work, this is Wesley's first day running this detail.
Yeah.
And Zoe has been abducted. And he is still, obviously, on a base level, if I had fucked up that badly on my first day in any job, I would be inconsolable and I would not be doing my best work. Whereas Wesley is still managing to run the show despite the gravity of what has happened.
It's a real skill, I feel. I think you made a really good point that was very interesting about what we've seen through this season.
We've had a real escalating series of first days. From Amy Gardner, kind of fun hijinks, stressful first day as Abby's chief of staff, to Joe Quincy unleashing the truth about Hoynes on his first day, to now Agent Wesley having the worst first day one could possibly have on a new assignment.
I'd love to note a particular bit of writing that I really loved, which is a line from Josh.
Oh my God, yeah, this got me as well. He just says to Wesley, I don't know what to say about Molly. And there's something about this character who always has the answers. Even if he doesn't actually have the answer, he will always claim to have the answer because that's who he is.
Yeah, he's like a spin doctor. Like he has to say that he knows what the answer is. That's like his job.
Yeah. And so for him, I think it's maybe the first time we've ever heard Josh not know what to say. And it's really vulnerable and it's really moving.
It's really moving. The thing that I like about it and what I think makes it such lovely writing is, like, at the end of the day, we met Molly first in last week's episode. But it's in one line, Sorkin has denoted that this is someone that we all know, that she's a colleague to all of these people. And I think it's such a smart way of playing that fact, that the reality of, like, someone said, I don't know if it was Molly or if it was Randy, but one of them had been like on Ellie's detail before. And it's like that these people might have been working with the Bartlett family for like more than 4 years.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just thought it was such a wonderful way and so wonderfully performed by Bradley Whitford for them to, in one line, be like, wow, we're just not, I don't really know, like, we're not going to see Molly, just like, we're not going to see her again.
Yeah. And then there's this really gorgeous moment between Josh and Charlie that I was not prepared for and was like barely able to process, where basically Josh kind of takes Charlie away in a kind of bear hug, almost like headlock. And there was a second where, because he clearly just like, he wants Charlie close to him in like a really affectionate way that I feel like we don't see men be that tactile with each other, especially men like Josh, unless their team has won some kind of sports thing. And there was a second where I really thought he was going to kiss Charlie on the forehead. And I felt like that was what Josh actually wanted to do in that moment. But then he doesn't know what to do. I just feel Bradley Whitford as an actor, I take my hat off. He's incredible through this whole episode.
Yeah. And we pan up from that lovely little shot to the helicopter that's still flying over. And then that like crosses the screen and transitions us back to the West Wing. Fuck, this episode is incredible.
We're immediately in on Carol knocking it out of the park, getting us the facts. Then I was like, oh my God, I had not even thought about this because CJ is about to give a press briefing. And I was like, this is about to be the press briefing of CJ's fucking life. Like, it's the kind of press briefing that will go down in history. Like, there simply could not be more pressure. And every single word that comes out of her mouth will be in history textbooks. Like, a first daughter has never been abducted in the way that, like, what Al Haig said to the press when Reagan was shot. Like, every word that came out of his mouth defined who he was in history forever. And then obviously Leo comes into the room and takes the words out of my mouth and was like, this is the press briefing of your life.
Yeah. It's so succinct. And I think in a moment where like everyone's having the most challenging day of their career, to have a chief of staff who's like, he looks at her dead in the eye in her office and he says, we're in control. The government is functioning. This is the most important press conference of your life. That's the end of the sentence.
And he has walked to her office to give her exactly that message in exactly those words.
And the person who has been abducted is also a little girl in his eyes, as the father of a daughter, who he's known since she was a baby. Like, it for him, this is entirely personal too. And I must say, Leo has locked in a big way. He's like, I'm assuming that the president is going to be slightly incapacitated because of this. So I am just running the show.
And also, you know, we've seen one-on-one scenes between Zoe and CJ as well. When Zoe first went off to university, and we've seen that CJ has nieces who are not a dissimilar age. Anyway, then I couldn't believe that this had not even occurred to me. And I was like, oh my God, this is gripping television.
Well, Will turns up with the one of many times in this episode that he turns up and just drops truths on us.
Which is that we have no vice president.
We have no vice president.
What has that got to do with this?
Are we really expecting him to get on the phone and say we do not negotiate with terrorists?
So then we're going to get into, obviously, the 25th Amendment, which we've covered in a study session previously on this show, when Jed had been shot and we had to invoke the 25th Amendment because he couldn't be president for a certain number of hours while he was in surgery. But like, the person who's supposed to take over in that scenario, if we invoke the 25th Amendment, is the vice president. And we don't have one of those right now.
Which all comes back to what Nancy's saying is like, this is not a typical kidnapping. Like, there's more than meets the eye. They knew, they'd seen the news. They saw that Hoynes had resigned. They knew that Jed would be more vulnerable. It's all really like, it's really interesting. And still, no one knows that Andy is in labor.
Just to add to the stress of it all.
But who's going to step up? I was like, oh, I know that like when we did the episode on the 25th, you were like, there is like a chain of command of like people who can take over. But like in this moment, who do we get on the phone? Like in general, obviously the president would be like handling those phone calls. But if he's like, I feel like I can't do it, like that, it's gripping television.
It's gripping television. And then we get into the press conference and I'm like, Aaron is truly going out with the James Cameron 1996 Titanic of episodes.
And I think everyone's really aware of that. And so there's like almost kind of like a more heightened style of acting.
And then CJ walks into the press briefing and she gives the most powerful hand that has ever been given in the history of television. Obviously, the press is going nuts. This is the story of the century, and she just simply raises a hand and they're quiet. I, again, then got very moved by how masterfully directed this episode has been. Like, I loved how the press briefing was shot. It's a whole other world from any press briefing that we've ever seen before because we're kind of in shaky cam. So it makes you feel like you're like physically in the room.
And it felt like the room was lit more brightly and there was much more photography flash, which kind of made you feel discombobulated.
Yes, it was very disorienting. But CJ is, needless to say, knocking it out of the park. We've obviously seen vulnerable moments from CJ where she's maybe messed up a little bit in a high pressure moment behind the podium. Not today. My favorite line of that being, Lyle, for the sake of a number of distraught people, I'm going to ask you not to publicly speculate on what's going on, Katie, and then I've got to go.
So good. And what a way to shut down, because Lyle's like, oh, is there any like plan or like thinking around the fact that like the first daughter may or may not be being sexually assaulted as part of this kidnapping?
Which is such a realistic question to ask.
Yeah.
And at the same time, horrifying, obviously.
But so masterfully navigated by CJ to be like, I'm giving you the dignity of an answer and acknowledging that, yes, like obviously you, the press, and we are all thinking of that. But right now, let's not focus on that in terms of speculation. There's plenty of story to be talking about that isn't that. Thank God Toby finally gets back. And everyone's like, where have you been? And he's like, well, obviously all of the roads are closed, which does actually make a lot of sense. It would have been like almost impossible to get back to work.
I love how kindly he speaks to Ginger.
Yeah.
There's something
like,
about...
Everyone immediately like flocks to him.
Yeah. I love that he is a pit bull with a big bark and no bite. So he'll grumble and stuff, but then in this vulnerable moment when he sees like a young female member of his staff and she's like, you've got about 100 phone messages. How do you want them?
I want them to stay in your hand for a moment.
He's such a good boss.
He really is.
Because it would be so easy in that moment as Toby, on the day that both you've been rejected by the love of your life and you've become a father for the first time and the first daughter has been abducted, for you to go, you're going to come at me with phone messages? Get the fuck out of my face, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And then we have this like really wonderful moment where Will comes in and he's like, okay, so like I've been kind of like putting together some remarks, and he like starts reading it out. And then as the foursome, we start like in the moment, like drafting and riffing. We
as a team of Will, CJ and Josh are a fully in mind meld. Toby starts us off saying, in this difficult time, we are grateful for the support of the we're not asking for fruit baskets. It's got to say, our youngest daughter has been abducted. She will be found, brought home safely, and her abductors caught and punished.
While we work for her safe return.
And then CJ just gives a yes.
The world community must know that this country will not be taken hostage and that our efforts towards peace and freedom continue unabated.
Good. And that's like a Toby into CJ into Josh. And the level of teamwork going on is just incredibly sexy because they're all, again, listening to each other and really just like honoring each other's contribution. It's like watching the Olympics of being a presidential staffer.
Because the focus is all on actually navigating the moment, not navigating their own experience of it. And I think that's when you like reflect on, if you've been lucky enough in your life to work as part of a really great team, you do, in moments of like chaos or like stress, make not selfless, but decisions based on everyone's experience rather than on you as an individual. And I think that those are really few and far between.
Famously, when you had to go on in the middle of a show.
Where I was certainly not thinking about my own experience, which obviously would be, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate people looking at me. But me being like, the show must go on. And so I'll stand here with this script and I will read out the lines.
And the way that they're all looking at each other, but they actually can't look at each other. I rewound to make sure, and nobody makes eye contact this whole time.
But it's,
even though they're listening so intensely.
But the film, it's another like kind of classic Sorkinism where he's got them like in the round and like everyone's pointed towards each other and the camera's kind of moving over everyone's shoulders.
We are the groundlings in the globe watching this happen as a TV audience.
We are in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Not the show. Just literally. You got pretty stressed at this point, Leigh, because you were like, where's Charlie?
I was like, who in the name of God has Charlie if he's not with Josh?
And I just sort of jumped in to be like, obviously, great question. But obviously, like, duty-wise, he has to, like, he's an aide to Jed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be like, obviously, Mr. Young, we understand you're very upset, but, like, you do need to go back to be with the president now.
I do feel like Charlie wouldn't need to be told that. I feel like he would be like, if I'm not out in the streets actively looking for Zoe myself, I will be with Jed in this moment.
You're so right. You're so right.
Then there's a whole discussion of Leo and how Leo is doing, which is, I think, is a reference to Al Haig claiming presidential duties as the Secretary of State when Reagan was shot. But I love Will coming through with this knowledge. Then I got very stressed because I was like, so we have no vice president. So we are potentially adding a constitutional crisis onto the abduction of the first daughter. Again, just Toby being the most incredible boss, turning to CJ and saying, and I heard most of your briefing on the radio. You did great for the rest of the night. They've got to get their information from us and not from the agencies. I don't want it like she's on a milk carton, Josh.
I've already started the calls.
535 congressmen and senators you've got to call. You're going to need a posse. States go to call the ambassadors. Will, you've got to be a lawyer, sitting in on all the meetings tonight in the council's office and report back to Josh right away. He's not going to have time to wait for a memo. Well, let's go. He's not even most of those people's boss, but just the way that he comes in and he's already thought of the strategy and through all of the potential pitfalls before he's even gotten back into the office.
And actually, I think what we're looking for as a team in that moment is someone to lead. And whether or not he's just saying the things that we had already thought we were going to do, it's just really nice that he's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. Avengers Assemble. This was also the moment where I was like, Fee, if you were kidnapped, I would not physically be able to sit down until you had been found.
Yes. And this is such, obviously, gorgeous. I love you so much. This, to me, linked to all of the very specific physical choices that all of the actors are making in this, which is so on point, which is everyone's moving or just standing frozen. No one's sat down, like there's been no point of relaxation for anyone. No. The reveal to the gang that the babies have been born.
As like an afterthought.
Undid me. Because obviously, like, as they're all going to go and leave, I think is it Josh or CJ Tanson's like, oh, how did it go at the house? And the way that like Toby like can't even quite get it out, and then he's like, oh, they've like they were born, and then in all of this chaos and like pain and like worry and stress, they allow like no one takes that moment from him.
Yeah,
that Josh like goes to him and hugs him and says Mazel Tov. And
there is a wordless exchange when everyone else has already walked away between Toby and CJ, which is a hearkening back, I feel, to when he once stood at the back of her press briefing. They just don't need to say any words. She just wants to stand there and, like, by her mere presence, let him know how much it means to her that he became a father today.
Huck Ziegler. Huckleberry. Little baby Huckleberry. And then him turning and like everyone else leaving, and just this again, Richard Schiff, just like the performance is so good because even though he's just become a father and it's the day of days, he doesn't betray the character of Toby Ziegler at all. And the kind of like sort of semi-choking back of tears alone in his office betrays the character in no way. It feels so rooted in who Toby is, like, to not allow himself, but to be so deeply moved by his friendships.
And like his friends specifically with daddy issues, lest us not forget.
Both of them.
Being friends with Josh through Josh losing his dad. CJ, obviously, he was very invested in how CJ felt about going home to see her dad. And like, this is the day that he himself has become a dad.
Huge. I'm really glad that we're giving Jed a physical. This feels important.
It feels really important. Also, oh my God, just Charlie being an absolute hero and just doing his job and not making it about himself.
And not even saying anything, just being at work.
Yeah.
Which I feel is what Jed needs. I feel like Jed's like, I
can't actually get into this with you specifically.
But God, I can't imagine how that call with Molly's family is going to go when Charlie's like, I've got Molly's family on the phone for you. So now we're throwing Donna mere moments after Are You in Love with Josh into helping him navigate a crisis.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about the timing from Donna's story arc perspective. How did I not put that so just so much is going on. I didn't think about it.
She's also like had a few beers because she finished work. And so you're like, I'm at work and I'm like, now I need to like sober up. I need to get my head around what my boss's ex has just said to me.
Who's also my friend, by the way. Like, they're actively friends. And she's kind of just, she's just like gotten on to me. I can't even talk about Lyman Hose or bus station skanks right now, though. There's just too much going on.
But this is why I think that's so genius.
Yeah.
Is because she's doing a Donna thing where she kind of like rambles and is like silly and kooky, but it's so half-hearted. Like even the delivery of those lines from Donna, like she's not in them, her heart's not in it. She's just like, this is something to do and say because I don't know how to feel right now.
It's very act natural. It's very like, I'm gonna do a drag performance of myself.
And we've all been there.
Yeah.
When you find yourself playing the character of yourself to like get through a social scenario.
Yeah.
So good from Janelle Maloney.
Activate the Laurens. For the love of God.
And that Will's like, oh, I kept them in late on a Saturday just for a team building exercise. Like, he's such a shit boss, but they love him so much.
Yeah.
We're going through like faxes. So like we were talking about the Lyman Hose and bus station skanks because essentially there's fax after fax pouring through.
Of just women checking on Josh.
And being like, how is he? We can comfort him if he wants. And Donna's like, look, I'm going to sift through it all, but it's like loads of it's just like junk mail and shit. Like, I'll get to it. And Josh and Will are chatting about like how the Laurens could help with the phone calls to the Congress people and senators. And then you see from afar, like behind them, Donna discovers something.
And we know Janelle Maloney can play this moment because we saw her walk into the hospital not knowing that Josh had been shot. We've seen her do this. We know that it's in her arsenal as an actor. As we do a slow zoom into Donna, and I felt immediately sick. And then Janelle Maloney gives us her Emmy performance in this moment, just going, hang on. Hang on.
Yeah. Aaron, you've nailed it. We have a ransom note. And I'm with Nancy on this one. Like, it doesn't feel like the work of professional kidnappers. It feels like the work of terrorists. But like, you know, there are people whose like, not job, because obviously it's illegal, but like their profession is to kidnap.
Yeah.
And it can be like the slickest thing ever. And so I love that Nancy's like, I agree, this is a organized terrorist attack, but these people are not kidnappers.
Yes.
They have just chosen to undertake this is a particular act of terrorism, which is intriguing and interesting as a choice.
This is not a kidnapping that has been meticulously planned months in advance. This is some people who were very reckless and got very lucky in the way that they were able to actually get Zoe away.
Yeah. And I know it's not the time now, but I would like to reference the fact that when we're describing Zoe and like what she's wearing when she was kidnapped, is that we're talking about her wearing 2 layered tank tops.
Because she's a woman of the people, Fiona.
I know. I love it because I'm like, that's accurate. She's 21 years old and it's 2003.
The number
of course,
of tank
she's
tops,
wearing a layered tank top.
The number of tank tops I owned that were in fact one tank top, but were made to look like a layered tank top.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Back with Jed, Ron and Casper.
And we discover that in fact what is in Jean-Paul's system, Fee?
It's GHB.
The fucking asshole. Like, to lace your girlfriend's drink and it's not even the drug that you think you're on.
Crazy. And Jed just saying, in low doses, it's a date rape drug. What about the boy?
Which then leads me to question, actually, did he intentionally use it as a date rape drug for Zoe?
No, because I think they're having sex as a couple.
Right.
I think he was duped.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that he's like, I'm this international party boy.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually think that like, that's like the perfect target, right?
Yeah.
It's someone who's like, yeah, I'm not even scared to try anything. I love drugs.
Yeah.
It's very smart from them because it incapacitates him and it incapacitates her.
Yeah. I can't even actually think about the party boy that I was seeing when I was 18 and in Peru. So many things could have happened, Fee. So many things could have happened. It's a miracle that they didn't.
I agree with you though when you said it was really powerful that like Jed can't even say Jean-Paul's name.
But we've seen that used for like comedic effect. So many times previously in the discussion of Jean-Paul, and now it just takes on a whole new meaning.
Well, he's always been like some like kind of quite crude xenophobic joke about the French. But then in this moment, he's the boy, which is like Jed being like, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
Like, is he alive? Like, what's going on? Really incredible scene then between Jed, Leo, Nancy, and Fitz, which again is one of those ones where like the actors are just bouncing off one another. We then do a big time jump.
Hour 4.
And yeah, we go 4 hours in the future.
So at this point, we've got to be, say if she was taken at, I think they say, is it like 10:30, 11, something like that she's taken. So we are 2 a.m. at this point.
Toby and Leo are having a little moment in Leo's office, talking about the babies. Wow, what a scene.
What Toby's saying is so real, which is essentially, I'm worried that I'm not going to connect with my kids and feel the way that other parents feel, which I think is especially for the non-birthing parent, regardless of gender, I think is like such a normal worry. But obviously because it's Toby, he's going to be he's going to take that incredibly seriously and be incredibly honest about it. And as you say, Fee, Leo is 100% the correct person for him to be having this conversation with.
Yeah. And I feel like Toby doesn't really have a relationship with his father and hasn't for a long time. And so Leo, as a man who also doesn't have a relationship or didn't have a relationship with his father, and he speaks openly about his father being an alcoholic and a very difficult man, to be like, no, that the father that you had and how you were fathered doesn't have to have any reflection on who you are as a father. Is so beautiful.
And just Leo not letting it go and kind of going like, no, but the thing is, Toby, I know you. I'm not saying all dads feel something for their kids. I'm saying that there is no way that you are going to be anything less than an amazing dad.
Yeah. And I really get what Toby's saying when he's like, all anyone said over the last few months is, you're not going to know, but you're going to feel like so much the moment you hold them. And it's like, it puts so much pressure on you to have a specific emotional response. And, you know, kind of as Andy said to him in the last episode, like, Toby doesn't really respond to things necessarily in the same way as everyone else.
Yes.
So it makes sense for this to be a fear for him. And he says, it just never really felt to me like I was someone who had the capacity for those feelings. You know, and the love of his life turned around to him yesterday and was like, I just don't think that like you're a warm person. You're a sad and cold person. And then he had to like witness the birth of his children. It's like, of course, his immediate reaction is, well, if Andy can't see the capacity for warmth in me, how the hell am I ever going to be a loving father to these kids? It's a beautiful speech from Richard and just Emmy, immediate Emmy.
Yeah. Emmys for everyone, honestly, for this episode.
Leo allows like Toby to deflect at the end of this scene. But you know when you're like, I feel like this conversation isn't over for Leo?
Yes.
He's like, I think Toby's reached capacity with like how much I can help him in this moment. But I will just be like putting a pin in this until we can return to it. Abby.
It's difficult to even talk about Abby in this scene. I mean, I think obviously like Stockard Channing is just devastating in this scene. A really tiny thing, but I think the choice for her to have taken the necklace off is so correct. as she's kind of striding through the West Wing, I cannot imagine being Amy, being her chief of staff, trying to, from a public relations perspective, manage the behavior of a mother who is essentially like lionessing out in this moment because her baby has been taken, and you're her staffer having to try and kind of moderate how she behaves. It's like she's sleepwalking as she's talking.
And every ounce of that, like, Abby Bartlett wit and sharpness has been blown from her. And she's just like, yeah, almost like sleepwalking. It's like she's almost drugged, like wandering through the halls trying to get to the press room. She's like, oh, I'm going to go and speak to them. I'm going to make a direct appeal. I don't know why it's taken me this long. And she's like, and Amy is like, maybe we shouldn't do that. Like, you know, when someone is like a bomb that could go off.
Yeah.
Like, she's kind of like weirdly docile and sleepy and like out of it. But you're like, you know, it could probably just take someone putting like a hand on her arm for her to explode.
Yeah.
And so the way in which Amy and CJ handle her so delicately, and they don't at any point go, like, ma'am, you can't do that. Like, turn around.
Yeah.
They coax her to making the right decision.
And we've seen this woman be so, like, in her power, and not, in many ways, not like a typical mother character, because she's been so defined by her career and by her relationship with her husband, rather than really her relationship with her kids. But seeing her have the moment of going, I know I've just seen other mothers do it. I screwed up.
It's an episode of just career highlight performances.
Yeah.
Stockard Channing doesn't actually have, I mean, what, she might have like 4.5, 5 minutes of screen time in this entire episode.
Yeah.
But that moment is so memorable, it feels like it lasted for longer.
Yeah.
The look in her eye as she says that to Amy and CJ, and like the helplessness and the fear is so like affecting.
Yeah, but then she still is the woman that she is, because she ends the scene by saying, I want whatever Zoe got.
Yeah, like a dark joke being like, because they're like, oh, we're going to call you a doctor. To then be like, oh, my daughter was drugged, so like, I'll just have what she had. Like, but that again is Aaron never forgetting who his characters are for the sake of the like gotcha performance.
Yeah, for the sake of suddenly casting Abby as the grieving mother whose daughter has been taken. Who we've all seen in Dateline and on true crime documentaries. We've seen, unfortunately and very sadly, so many mothers in old news clips in this horrific moment, but she still remains Abby Bartlett.
Yeah. And I think that's the kind of umbrage that I take with modern TV, because TV is made to be second screened. We rely on moments of dramatic intensity and kind of, in a way, performances of more like eye-catching intensity.
And kind of archetypal.
Yes,
performances that you can immediately call out and go, I know that archetype. It's the grieving mother. Yeah.
It's the angry boyfriend. It's the teenage daughter acting out that we lose, especially in like long-running drama series or like maybe like mini-series or like multi-season TV series. We're losing this depth of character that you have, and it makes so much sense as to why The West Wing continues to be held in such high regard, and like shows like The Sopranos and The Wire and ER, because over like 100 or more episodes, the characters continue to respond to moments of challenge and chaos in their lives as authentic versions of themselves rather than these archetypes. And that must be for those actors something that they look back on with such fondness.
Yeah.
That they were allowed to really like kind of feel their like actor oats, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, because now I imagine the way that Abby Bartlett's response would have been written would be like, she falls to her knees and wails.
Oh, God.
She lets out a noise that only mothers would understand.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it would be written. Rather than her, like, just turning and quietly saying to a woman who works for her, I screwed up. It's different now. And I just, I could not love this show more. Back in the sit room.
How in the name of God is Jed supposed to be making decisions? But he has to be capable of making decisions because otherwise we're in a constitutional crisis.
Because there's no one there. There's nowhere to go. Like, there is no vice. And I think everyone in the room is like, okay, like, cool. Do you know what? Like, as a team, maybe we'll just like do this as a team. But we're all very aware that like we are towing a constitutional tightrope. And we've just got a rogue plane in the air.
We do. Which turns out to be nothing, thank God.
Turns out to be some drunk frat boys. But we were like, honestly, a millisecond away from blasting them out of the sky.
Yeah. Bad time to be some drunk frat boys in the sky when the First Order has been abducted.
Should we discuss the boys?
The scene
boys
on the steps.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about the military option. Nancy is making good points. This man I know that he's frustrated with himself, and I think he's scared because of his MS that he's forgetting stuff. It would be crazy if he wasn't forgetting stuff. He's in shock. Obviously, certain moments will be blacked out from his memory because his memory is protecting him from the most traumatic thing that could happen to a father on the world stage. But he's beyond clear-headed, actually.
Sorry about the confusion in there. I know we practiced that. Like Jed, you had like 4 different people talking at you. You had like maybe a second to make a decision about potentially a plane that might have undertaken a terrorist act. You're allowed to be like stressed and maybe like ask for further information. It's do not apologize on day of all days.
The sitting on the stairs man to man was just in general a lot. And then the moment that really cemented for me, Jed is an incredible president because I don't think he asks this question if he's not president. I think he only asks this question because he has to think strategically about his own daughter's abduction in order to make decisions as president. I think as a dad, you don't ask this question, but as president, you have to, which is when he turns to Jed and says, I need you to tell me now, do you think she's already dead?
Which equally is him turning to his oldest friend and going, I need you to be my chief of staff right now. And not be my best pal going, oh God, you know, she's out there. She's got some chutzpah. And Leo going, I think she's alive.
Yeah.
Is Leo being like, that is the course of action we should take? Is that this is a recovery mission? Yeah. And we actively need to think about like what sort of deal we might make and whether or not that's actually going to be a ruse of any sorts. Like,
the whole conversation between Jed and Leo is Aaron Sorkin at the height of his powers. It is exemplary screenwriting. It's exemplary scene work from the 2 actors. At no point does it feel grandiose or self-indulgent in any way, which I think given the kind of like operatic stakes of what's going on, it could very easily tip over into that. Into like a self-aggrandizing place from a writing or an acting perspective, but it's everybody at the top of their craft.
And he just knows all the characters so well, and he knows how to write for the actors that he's cast. Like, Jed reaches this deep state of calm that I feel people get to when they're experiencing like shock and like a traumatic event that should make everyone very worried. And like, you can see Leo watching him and being like, okay, are you about to have some sort of crisis? Or are you deciding to put the fact that it's your daughter into a box and talking to me as the leader of the free world?
Yeah.
And you just see Leo like waiting to see which way the scales are going to tip.
Yeah.
Then Jed's like, I need you to get together this person, this person, this person, and this person.
Yes, which was confusing to me because, as we later discover, they're obviously the people that he needs to speak to if he wants to trigger the 25th Amendment and basically say, I'm incapacitated and I can't make decisions as president right now. It is also very similar to the list of people he would have to speak to if he wanted to declare war. And so I was very stressed about all of that at this point.
Yeah. I don't know if I can go to the hospital, but it's hour 6 and we're at the hospital with Toby having a quiet moment alone with his children, which is too much for my fragile heart.
I didn't realize babies come with hats. You guys crack me up. You don't have jobs. You can't walk or speak the language. You don't have $1 in your pockets, but you've got yourselves a hat, so everything's fine. I don't want to alarm you or anything, but I'm Dad. And for you, son, this will be the last time I pass the buck, but I think it should be clear from the get-go that it was Mom who named you Huckleberry. I guess she was feeling like life doesn't present enough challenges to overcome on its own. And honey, we've got a name for you now too. Your mom and I named you after an incredibly brave woman, really not all that much older than you. Your name is Molly. It's the fact that it's so funny that makes it so emotional.
And then he's like, Huck and Molly. So, what do I do? Well, you're going to need food and clothes and doctors and dentists, and there's that. And should you have questions along the way, I'm going to be doing stuff like this. And then he like gets a tissue and like wipes the like baby goop from Huck's mouth. Huck, because you're leaking a little bit out of your mouth there. You're holding my finger, son?
Oh no, I can't.
Hey, Molly. Your brother's holding my hand. Do you want to hold my hand? And then he says, like, this isn't going to mean anything to you, but Leo was right. And then we get a Toby smile.
Yeah.
After the holding of the fingers, I took a break, did a big ugly cry, sent a video to Leigh, and then was like, please check back in with me in 3 to 5 business days. It was the scene with the babies. And also that having that moment with his new children, knowing that like someone who he respects more than anyone is trying not to start grieving their child, but thinking about the fact they might have to.
Yeah.
And knowing that as much as he and Andy will raise the children together, he's a dad alone. Like, she's said no.
And it feels really important that he's like, it's not even like Andy's in the room asleep.
No, it's
like really
so
important
perfect.
that he's on his own.
And he's like, I can do it on my own because I will. Because we'll be co-parenting. Like, it's so clever. Also, naming her Molly. Because it's that thing of like, because they have played the death of Molly, like she is a colleague that is known to everyone.
Yeah.
Naming his daughter Molly doesn't feel like this, like, and her name is Molly. Like, it's not like him being like, oh, I'm just going to jump on like how this like really awful thing happened to that woman and like name my daughter.
Yeah.
It feels like him being like, I knew that kid. She was a good kid.
Yeah. And she died because she was doing her job.
Yeah.
And like, if Zoe got abducted and she didn't take the bullet, like that, she's not done her job.
Yeah.
You know?
Speaking of gorgeous Huns, just Margaret delivering a coffee to Leo.
Saying that she's not going to sleep until he sleeps.
And he's like, no, you should go to sleep. And she's like, I'll sleep when you do.
And then he's like,
I love her.
I'll sleep when Jed sleeps. So it's just a whole staff of people who aren't sleeping, but it's beautiful.
Here we go. I think the quote is, well, this is going to be interesting because we're going to have a small band of dedicated people who can't lift their arms.
Yeah, just Leo reading the Constitution.
It is awful, her putting the coffee mug down and just like there's a copy of like the Constitution next to him. I didn't feel good about that.
I felt really stressed that Leo's love for Jed and wanting to protect Jed would lead him to overreach and actually like put himself in legal hot water for making decisions on Jed's behalf unofficially.
And then I think we both had a real like penny drop moment very late in the day.
Yeah, because we realized we're going 25th Amendment.
Yeah, and I was like, Christ, the title went completely over our heads.
I was just so stressed going into this episode, coming out of the last episode. I didn't even like really, the title just didn't register. And then basically,
we gather the troops, right?
As I realized 25th Amendment, I also realized we have a Republican-led Congress, which means that our Speaker of the House, who is the next in line once the 25th Amendment is triggered, if the VP is also unavailable to take the role, which obviously in this case, Hoynes is already gone. So it's like we're going to have a Republican stepping in.
It's so fascinating.
And then, as Will says, of the temporarily handing over power to his political enemy, I think it's a fairly stunning act of patriotism and a fairly ordinary act of fatherhood.
Will really comes out with some fantastic lines.
He really does. And also his trajectory through this whole episode is that he's just been thinking about the 25th Amendment this whole time. And the fact that he feels it needs to be triggered. Because he really started this trajectory at the top of the episode.
Now, I love Sam Seaborn. I love Sam Seaborn. But the way for me that Will Bailey is functioning as a more helpful character.
Yes.
Is that he is showing us more the cogs working.
Yes.
Sam Seaborn was this like really hyper intelligent person who like knew a lot, and it was just there at the front of his head.
Yeah.
But I love watching Will work it out.
Yes,
he's
agreed.
So, like, you can really see him like twisting it all into shape in his head.
That's so insightful. Yes, agreed.
It's kind of good to know that like Josh, Toby, CJ, Will all feeling like pretty good and on board that like the 25th is the right move.
Yeah.
So that means that we're leaving the series with no president.
I'm sorry, and this is where I need to come to the fact that, Aaron, let's have a chat. You have made the most stunning, I'm going to say the biggest televisual fuck you of all time. You are walking from the series having left them with huge problems and zero answers.
Okay, can I be the opposite side of the coin to you? I think this is a gift. I think this is a gift to his writer's room because the opening of season 5 is going to be so heavily scrutinized with him not being there. The writing and the storylines are going to be under a microscope. We can't just have Jed Bartlett going about his day. We have to remove a linchpin, a kind of core of this TV show, in order to give the writing team a chance to prove that they can do the job. If it was just Jed Bartlett and the administration continuing to like deal with the kidnapping of Zoe, I think it just would have been like, we are so under the microscope, we can't do anything right. He said, I'm going to strip it all away and then you can build what you want. You know, like... You've got your characters. I just feel
that he's a petty man. And also, let us not forget, he did not have a writer's room. He has this whole series, other than The Long Goodbye, he has written. No one else has been involved. There has not been a writer's room. He's had people consult, but there is not a writer's room as such, akin to what Michael Patrick King had on Sex and the City, for example. That did not exist. I think he has gone, you want to see if you can write my TV show? Well, it's not going to be the TV show that I was writing.
I think I'm gonna respectfully disagree. Although I love your take because obviously I love to believe that he's just like a messy bitch that lives for the drama and is at the end of the day a musical theatre girly that just like would be like, I will fucking kill you if you take that part from me. But I'm gonna give if you love something and if you've put, to use one of our favorite phrases, your full pussy into it, why would you burn it down? Now, I've said this about like places that I've worked before, like whether that's on like theatre shows or like in hospitality. And sometimes you'll be like, like this job's like got like a bit complicated or a bit difficult to do. Like I'm just like, my time is done here. I'm going to have to go. And people will be like, oh, like I hope it fucking closes. Or like, I hope it like ends up like, I hope it's like dead when I walk past that bar. And obviously the immediate kind of like drama queen in me is like, yeah, me too. But actually deep down, I'm like, no, because I've worked so fucking hard on that. I put my love and my soul and my skill into it. And if it thrives, if it prospers, even if it does better without me, that means that I gave it something that it needed.
I think in conclusion, where these two views on it come together is that it is a crazy way to go out.
Oh my God, this is insane. Like,
should we talk about the final scene?
Let's talk about the final scene. So we're like shifting from room to room with like obviously Jed telling people this is what he's going to do. And everyone just keeps on being like, Leo will know what to do. stressful.
Again, that stresses me from a Leo potentially overreaching and making a mistake perspective.
Or like burning out.
Yeah. No, fully.
And then, as you mentioned, we're like, it's going to Mr. Speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Speaker.
Who is Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker is John Goodman.
Gagged.
AKA Sully from Monsters, Inc. And also obviously an actor who's in countless stunning films and television series. But Sully from Monsters, Inc. is going to be president of the United States.
It's perfect casting for a Republican Speaker of the House.
He...
could not be a different physical presence to Martin Sheen.
So true. And the way in which he even walks into the room and they're in the Oval Office and everyone in the group's kind of taking it in turns to be like, okay, so we need to let people know who's in charge so we could then internationally people will know who's in charge. And he just is like, I think first of all, everyone in the room needs to understand who's in charge, which is such a bold way of being like, bitch, I'm in charge now. It's
so intense. And to also kind of go there's going to be a very different way of working with me.
Which also, what a huge amount of intrigue going into season 5.
Yeah.
In terms of making people switch on their TV, because for some people, they'd be like, well, if it's not Aaron, I think maybe I'll try the first episode, but maybe I won't bother. But if you're like, ooh, I wonder how Toby is going to come up against this character, you might just give it a little bit more of you might set your DVR to record, whereas you might have not done before. Can we talk about Toby's final line?
There's no one in this room who wouldn't rather die than let you down, you know.
How dare you, Toby, today? Today of all days, when you've already destroyed me. Say that to Jed Bartlett. My God. Just whisper it in his ear.
And then the absolute audacity of, Mr. President, you are relieved.
I know.
To come at a man with that energy when his daughter has been abducted.
Yeah.
I get that it's in a way, backup has arrived. But it is also there is an edge of a fuck you to it as well.
And Speaker Walken being get out. We've got work to do. I'm sorry, let's not all be kind of stand around and kumbaya-ing. Fascinating. Leigh, should we do some quick fires?
Oh God, I didn't even think about the quick fires. Can we just talk about how packed the last 2 episodes have been? With drama.
So much drama.
At every turn. Yet again, my prediction that Josh and Donna would hook up for the first time in this season has been completely blown away.
Amy and Donna nearly hooked up this season. That's how far off you were. I think that 25 could be in my top 10 episodes. And the thing is, it's really hard because I think season finales are really difficult because look, when you have a favorite TV show, you have a smattering of episodes. You have your 10 or 15 episodes, especially if it's a long running series where you're I feel a bit tired or I'm a bit sleepy or I'm a bit hungover or I'm a bit ill and I'm off sick from work. I'm going to go and watch that particular episode. You have an episode for every mood. And for me, those obviously very, very rarely season finales, even though season finales are so fantastic. But this and Commencement just had so many phenomenally written scenes that I could just watch them straight away. I could, the credits could roll and I just click play again.
Yeah, agreed. How long do you think that the 25th Amendment is going to be in play for before Jed comes back?
I think it would have been the story arc of the first block of season 5. So I think we could see a 5-episode arc around it.
I like that.
Because they'll have their season break, end of season break. I think that the first episode back will be us kind of getting to know Walken, kind of coming up to speed with what's happening. I think that we will have a breakthrough in the kidnapping case at the end of the first episode. I think we might find out what's going to happen to Zoe in the second episode, because I think the thing is, you can only hold on to tension around that kind of thing for so long.
Agreed. I reckon that Mr. Walken is going to make a case for the fact that he should permanently ascend to the presidency and finish Jed's term.
Because of the stress and toll that it's taken on Jed.
Because he has been incapacitated. I think he's going to make that case. Because we heard him say in this episode, they were saying, that you're going to have to give up your seat in Congress in order to do this.
And you would have to run again.
In 2 years' time. Or he could make a case to be president for the next 3 years, which is, I think, what he's going to try and do.
I think there's going to be something there in that, like, Jed's going to be like, look, I wasn't, like, incapacitated. I just figured that the best way to, like, lead the country was to allow it to be led by a man who wasn't also the father of the woman in question. And I think Mr. Walken is going to be like, yeah, but you said you were incapacitated. So, like, if it was that bad, then you shouldn't be president at all.
Yeah.
I think that could be a really interesting political and legal kind of story arc about this.
But we can get into all of this and more next episode, because we're going to do our final roundup episode of season 4 before we have our little pause to plan season 5. So do come and join us for the roundup episode of season 4, where we will come back with like all of our predictions in all of our plot lines for season 5.
All of our plot lines, our funny takes, if I say so myself, like our favorite quotes, but also questions that you guys have for us that maybe we've not thought of.
Yes, please.
So like do get in touch with us on socials of our email, or if you're a patron, you know how to get in contact with Leigh. She's floating around out there. We'd love to know anything that we've missed. And also we'd love to know, like, if you've got anything that you'd like us to discuss.
Yes.
That we haven't already prattled on about.
Yeah. And tell us about your favorite things in season 4, because I've loved this season.
Me too. And if you were also equally bereft and emotionally assaulted by Richard Schiff in this episode and the previous episode, thank you so much.
Okay, we'll see you next week for our roundup.
I'll see you next week, Leigh.
Bye-bye.
Bye.